Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you guys doing out there on this lovely Tuesday afternoon? Elaine Proby here, CEO of PROBY'S Tax and Accounting, and tips from Elaine's desk. All right. So today we are going to be talking about a topic that's very exciting to me, of course, and it has to do with gig workers and musicians. We're going to talk about navigating taxes for the recording artists. And, as they are referred to as gig workers. So we're going to talk about what that is. And we're going to talk about some great stuff in terms of how you get your money and the tax implication. All right. So welcome back, guys. Hit like and share on this video so that everybody can get this information. This is going to be a very exciting topic. Of course, again, we're talking out there to, let's say, all of our freelance artists, gig workers, as we call them, because of course they do jobs by various gigs. Now, the advantages of that is once you freelance, of course, you are independent. You are on your own time. You are your own boss. You're very flexible to create the time that you want. You go to work when you want to. You take the gigs as you need them. And so that's the advantages. And then disadvantages, of course, it's not a traditional job. Benefits are not the same. Taxes are not the same. So we're going to talk about how you can keep all the stuff intact. So, of course, you can get the advantages of both sides, right? Of being your own boss and working very flexible hours. And then, of course, being able to take care of the financial obligation. All right. So let's jump right into this, guys. So the first point is we want to figure out who are gig workers. And that term was also used when, was COVID and they was giving out some of those loans. And then they also made benefits and employment and stuff like that for gig workers, which was something unusual. And so gig workers are people who are not working under the normal standards of things, where they're not employed by a company. So they're not on payroll. You are an independent contractor. And you freelance, meaning that you can take gigs wherever you want to take them at. No one controls what you take. No one controls when you take them. No one controls, how you do that stuff. So it's all on you. So gig workers are temporary. Sometimes you may have a short-term gig where you might be, let's say, as an artist and musician, maybe booked at a venue for a period of time. Could be a month, could be weeks, it could be, but that is still considered short-term anyway. So you're still considered a gig worker because, of course, it's something very temporary, so that you're not there, months in and months out. Now, sometimes, of course, you guys seen this happen in Vegas all the time. Some of those gigs are long, right? Some of those engagements are longer. However, it still makes you an independent person, a freelancer who does what you want to do when you want to do it, right? So that's what the term is, gig workers, and it's definitely something from the entertainment music industry, because every time you play a set somewhere, it's just considered a gig. That's the overall deal, right? So there's a pool of laborers out there, a lot of folks that are in this market, and of course, you are only going to be as busy, of course, as you make yourself to be. So we're going to talk about how that works and how you get paid in the finances and how to manage that, right? So again, the gig workers, you guys are independent contractors, freelancers, that you control your own gigs, when you go to work and when you come. Very different from being an employee someplace, right? We want to make sure that this is super important to all of you guys out there. So guys, hit like and share on this video. Let everybody get this information. That's our first point today. What is a gig worker? You hear this term all of the time, and it's definitely in the music industry. So we're talking about, guys, the advantages of navigating your taxes as a recording artist. And we are getting into our second point today. Okay. So thanks for jumping on here. Sharice, you're gonna have to put any comments on the board because I definitely are not seeing those. So, hey, Joan, good afternoon. How are you? Yes. Hey, Ron, how are you doing, bro? Thanks for jumping in. Karen, hello, good afternoon. How are you? How is everybody doing? Yes, Miss Lorna. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. Okay, so hit like and share on this video, guys. Get this around, get this out there. Second point today is so important to the gig worker, to the independent musicians. Very important. Organizing your finances. Now, as an independent worker, freelancer, you get multiple streams of income. You guys can have a gig every day in 1 week, or you can have several gigs, different places. So you have income coming in from any, all the places that you play these gigs at. So you can be getting monies from so many different sources all the time, weekly, monthly, and it's coming from all different sources. So you have to be able to organize your finances. You have to be able to stay on top of this stuff and making sure that you track all of this. All right. So with having these multiple streams of income, you want to make sure that you have. One of the things that normally happens is, it's a business that you're operating. So the best way to do this, guys, is to have two separate bank accounts. Have your business bank account for all of the monies that you get as a gig worker, and have your personal bank account. You're going to need to have this so you could track all the monies that you get from the gigs. Put them in a separate bank account. This is organizing your finances so that you can really track this. Again, it's coming from different sources. At the end of the year, some people may send you a 1099, others may not. So you have to know what kinds of money that you are making, because it's all taxable. We'll talk about that in the next set. So you need to stay on top of it. You need to be in control of it. And then what you have to do to organize your finances, you need to create a budget, because you have to know what are your monthly expenses. What are your operating, your living expenses. You have to have that set aside. Any emergency fund, set that aside. Don't touch it, and make sure that you keep track of the income that comes in, so you can put that budget money aside for all your emergencies and just spend as you need. Because you guys know out there, when you're working gigs, you can get a gig for a long period of time that pays a lot of money. As a recording artist, sometimes you can sign a deal, you can get money, and it could come in one big lump sum. And then, of course, there are these dry spells where for months or for weeks you may not be working. This is why it's so important for you to organize your finances and stay in control. I've seen it where you can get a check that covers you for 6 months, maybe sometimes even up to a year, depending on what that deal is, right? So it's so important of what I'm talking about in this section: organizing the finances, budgeting, keeping all your living expenses, knowing what that is, pay that stuff, make sure that you have enough money set aside. So when you make that money, when you make the big check, you have money set aside for months on end, right? Don't just go out spending. All right. So then you have to make sure that you know and project how that money is coming in. And you have to project how you're spending that money when it goes out. So don't do anything that you don't have to do, and just make sure that you set that money. It's so important to stay in control, because again, you don't have a 9-to-5 job. This is not you going and getting a paycheck every single week or twice a week or once a month. This is, you may get a check every week, or you may get a check every month. And of course, you guys know how it works. Okay. So I want to make sure that that's super important. And you have to make sure that when there is a lot of gigs that you could get, take those gigs as much as you can, because there are those times when they call it the lean months when you're not going to get as much gigs. This is super important. So I want you guys to really focus on this and make sure that you handle your finances accordingly. Very important. All right. So this is my second point today. If you guys have any questions, put it in the comment, and we will make sure we answer them today, or I'll come back through here and answer those questions. Again, navigating your taxes as a recording artist. And of course, this is the industry where you're making money based on the amount of gigs that you work. Okay. So let's get to my favorite part. Well, my least favorite part, I should say. This is the tax planning part. This is where we want to make sure that you stay out of tax trouble. Again, I've seen cases where, based on the deals, you can get a lot of money, right? So what happened is, because you are independent, tax planning, because you're independent, no one is taking out any taxes from you. You are responsible for your own taxes. This is not a W-2 job. This isn't a paycheck. This is not somebody taking out the federal and the state. This is none of that. You have to be very, very, very disciplined, because you're responsible to take out your own tax money, set it aside, and pay those taxes. I've seen so many people in the music industry, a lot of recording, and the first recording artists, they get deals, they get a lot of gigs, they get a lot of money, and the first thing that happens is the first year they get into tax trouble. It's not a good thing. Again, no fault of theirs, because they're really not versed on this stuff. So you want to make sure that you consult with a professional, a tax professional, such as myself, such as PROBY'S Taxes, so we can make sure that this doesn't happen to you guys. Trust me, it is so easy. So you need to be able to know what it is that is projected based on how much work that you normally do, what monies you have coming in. And those of you who are having deals where, especially you have royalties coming in maybe on a quarterly basis, have some type of projection of what that money is so that we can definitely plan to set aside. And I usually tell all my clients, set aside about 30% of all the monies you get to cover your federal and state taxes and any other taxes that you may have to pay. Super important. Now, I usually tell them 30% because I've had clients who get hundreds of thousands of dollars and they say, well, how much of this money should I set aside for taxes? I said, look, put a flat 30% in place. Some of the money may be earned in state where it's no taxes due there. But when you are in a taxable state such as California, you got to pay federal and you got to pay state taxes. Okay, so make sure that you are doing your tax planning, you're doing your tax projection, you're setting aside out of every dollar that you make, every paycheck that you get, you're setting aside monies for taxes, right? So then once you set aside the money for taxes and you get to file those taxes, this is my favorite part. We want to make sure that you are taking all of your deductions. Now, you may be able to get some of that money back. You may be able to get some of that money back by writing off all these taxable deductions as an artist, as a musician. A lot of stuff could be written off. Travel could be written off, guys. If you go to any conference, any musical events that you go to, you get to write all that stuff off. All your automobile mileage you get to deduct, going to sessions, going to rehearsals, going to events, collaborating with others, all this stuff, you guys get to write all this off. And again, wardrobe, you usually use your wardrobe. If you're playing these gigs, guys, there's wardrobe that you use. Grooming, you have to look a certain way. All the stuff is a deduction, and we love deductions because what that does is it has us paying less taxes. Your agent fees, if you have a management, you have an agent, you have any company that's taking care of your royalties, all that stuff, that is a deduction. Software, your musical software, all of your equipment. And even if you have to repair those equipment, you have to maintain those equipment, all that stuff, guys, is a deduction. So I love this part right here because I love deductions. I love to be able to deduct from that money, and I love to be able to pay less taxes on the money as you earn. So if you earn $100,000 and we can write off $60,000, you pay taxes at $40,000, that'll be great because you want to make sure that you don't pay in any more than you have to. So my third point here, tax planning, paying estimated taxes, and tax projection. So in order for you to not pay a lot of penalty if you do owe taxes, the estimated taxes comes into play, right? This is where you send some money. The government wants money on a quarterly basis. Is a pay-as-you-go tax system. I always let everybody know that paying at the end, you pay more penalty. There's estimated taxes that you send them every quarter, every 3 months, you send some taxes in and you pay less penalty at the end. If you owe a lot more, then you send that, but you want to pay every quarter. So estimated taxes are more important. Tax projections, so you know what to estimate and paying, super important. All right. So that is it for the third point. Now let me go back and recap. So you guys hit like and share on this video. Very exciting, very important. A lot of recording artists, people in the music industry, gig workers out there. This is super important for you. What is a gig worker is the first point. You are an independent person who works different gigs at different times, whenever you want. And of course, you are in control of your gigs and how much work that you do take. It's not a traditional type understanding. You don't have a 9-to-5, right? So that was your gig worker. It's a temporary situation. You show up according to the gigs that you get and you knock it out and you get paid, right? So that's the gig worker. Second point, organizing your finances. Because you're getting multiple streams of income coming from all over the place, from different gigs, different places, different, people is paying you different amounts, and it could be all over. This could be international, this could be national, this could be local. So you must organize your finances. You have to be able to track this stuff. I suggest just get you a business bank account and put everything in there. Take out the personal part of it, pay all your business expenses. Okay, so that's the second part, organizing finances. And third, tax planning, doing your estimated taxes and your tax projection. Very important. I see so many people in the music industry, so many artists and entertainers. You get sometimes these big checks. You maybe have a hit song. You're getting all these royalties. You know what I mean? You're getting all this money, sometimes a lot of it up front. And what happens is you don't plan for taxes. And at the end, when it's time to pay these taxes in, that money is gone. And so many people get in tax problem in the very first year. Okay, so you have different streams of income coming in beside the gigs that you work on a regular basis, besides your royalties that you have there. And you know, you can have all these different deals and all this other stuff. So big checks are liable to come in. Tax planning, super important. And let's not go down that road where before we know we have to pay back all this money. All right, so those are my 3 points, very important. If you guys need any more clarification in any of this matter, make sure that you go to PROBY'S.com. There's a calendar on there. You can get a 15-minute free consultation, get more information on how this process works. You know, I have a lot of clients who are in this business, who are independent artists, musicians, and all that stuff. So I've been dealing with this for many, many, many years. Help a lot of people out of, you know, paying a lot of taxes. So make sure that you book a 15-minute free consultation with us at PROBY'S Tax and Accounting under call our office 323-290-9034 if you need to schedule an appointment with me. All right. So with that said, that brings us to Elaine.com. I think we now have I'm gonna file an extension for taxes today. All right. She's saying if you're not going to be, we know it's tax season, if you're not going to be ready to get those taxes by April 15, March 15, if you have an S corporation and a partnership, it's March 15. Time is really flying. If you have an S corp or you have a partnership, March 15 is your deadline, not April. Okay, so if you're not going to get them done on time, get that extension in now. As a matter of fact, I have clients who have already called for extension last week. They already know they're not going to be ready. So get your extension in. If you could file it online if you know you're not going to get ready for these taxes. Okay, so let's go to Elaine.com. I think we do have a date now. We're going to be doing or workshop. Well, is it the workshop we have a date for? Elaine.com. We have a course that we're going to put out there. I believe the course is in, what was that, March the 7th? Did we have that date yet? March 7th, I believe we have a course coming up. So you guys stay tuned. It's going to be, March the 8th. Okay. Our next webinar. That's what I was waiting on. Our next webinar, March the 8th. So go to Elaine.com for more information there. Look for the date, you guys. I want all of you guys to sign up and join us in this live webinar. It's going to be on how to stay in business. Anybody can start one. Not too many people know how to stay in business, how to run it, and how to operate it successfully. So that's what we're going to talk about there. Okay. So with that said, all right. So I think that's it. Hit like and share on this video. I want you guys to join us back here on Thursday. And what are we talking about on Thursday? What are we talking about on Thursday? We'll be back here Thursday at 1 o'clock. I'm not sure what that topic is, but she says tax season mindset reset. You know what? This mindset reset about tax season, I really want to talk about this because this is where a lot of people, I think we mentioned it briefly before, get anxiety. So we need for you to have a good mindset. I'll show you guys how to have a positive mindset so that you're not, getting anxiety over tax season. So we're going to have a different mindset. So when tax season comes, we're going to have a better attitude about it. All right. Tune in Thursday at 1 p.m. guys. Again, hit like and share this video. With that said, I want you guys to have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday afternoon. And with that said, y'all take care of each other and take care of yourself. Thanks. Bye-bye.